It's official. Biden continues to rip off Americans with the biggest legalized Ponzi scheme. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, October the 16th. And, well, it is official. We now have another new tax that is part of this gigantic Ponzi scheme, not started by President Biden, but certainly continued and accelerated by his actions. And, of course, now we have a hike in Social Security tax, and you now make 160,000. You have to pay tax on up to $160,000 a year instead of $140,000 a year. So just another hidden tax, a little bit more taxation without representation that is being brought to you courtesy of the Biden administration right now. And at the end of the day, you've seen the damage that they have been able to do. And, you know, we all know, and nobody's going to not admit that every administration, whether it be Republican or Democrat, has ripped off the American taxpayer, the middle class, for at least 50 years or 60 years that I know of, okay? But I'm sure going way back and when, because, of course, that's what they do. They know that the middle class especially has no fight in them and doesn't like to make change. And of course, the Social Security age, which is 65 still, should not be. You should not even be able to collect one benefit at all until you're over 70. And really, the true retirement age should be somewhere over 75, not 65. It's a joke. It's a Ponzi scheme that has been created because that money that we're paying in is supposed to be our money, and of course they've turned it into what they want to call an entitlement, which it's really not an entitlement because it's your money. Okay, if you put it into your own 401k, it'd be worth a hell of a lot more than the government gives you back over time. Okay, and of course, surprise, the federal government extends the COVID-19 public health emergency. Now, I don't know what you think about COVID, but I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Okay, I said from the beginning that it was a man-made disease that was made in China, sent here almost as a form of chemical warfare. Okay, but to extend all they're really doing is extending the money that the hospitals can steal, the doctors can steal, and the government can steal from, once again, the American middle class. Yeah, it's amazing the taxation without representation we continue to get, okay, as they continue to try and destroy the middle class. You know, you may think I'm full of shit, but that you would be wrong, okay, because again, I urge you to look at your own bank account. I urge you to look in your own spending situation, and you tell me when we, the people, have our own natural resources that are here, okay, that are easily gotten to, and yet we don't want to use them, okay, as the rest of the world pollutes like crazy, okay, and continues to build new coal plants. We continue to sit here with this oil just waiting to be used, okay, that would not only help us, of course, but would help Germany and the UK and others around the globe. But let's continue to drain our strategic petroleum reserve, which is just another ridiculous joke, especially when that oil is not going to us, it's going to China and places, destinations unknown, okay? But I think that, you know, again, you look at the numbers, okay, again, you don't have to listen to me. Look at the numbers. CPI, hot, okay, over 40-year highs in inflation. And the question is why? There's no reason for 40-year high inflation. Okay, there's no reason for any of these things that are happening right now. Okay, PPI, producer prices, again, 40-year highs. Okay, so and again, these are not even accurate counts. This is the real scary part. If you take those numbers and you multiply them by 3, you might become more accurate. There is no, if you look at just the prices you're paying today, okay, versus the prices you were paying a year ago or 2 years ago, 8% is not near the right number. Hell, the price of gasoline is at least 150% higher. Okay, and we seem to forget that as Americans, barring in a major emergency, our number one costs are food and energy. But they don't track food and energy. Retail sales got clobbered once again, and that ties into Amazon's special Prime Day, which was a bust. Now, when is the last time Amazon had a Prime Day that was a total bust? Okay, this past week, the 12th and the 13th, a total bust for Amazon on Prime Day. But of course, who can afford it? People are lucky they can afford to eat or heat. Okay, and we are coming into winter, which is the most expensive time of the year from a spending point. Okay, from heating your home. And we haven't seen those bills yet. Wait if you think your summer bills are high, wait till you see your winter bills. Okay, but food is up another 1%. Okay, and again, those numbers are those are mixed numbers which are inaccurate, but it's still showing the fact that they're higher. You go into the grocery store and you continue to see emptier and emptier shelves. Okay. Now, of course, you've got the cost of living adjustment, which is going to be 8.7% in 2023, which means that the base that we talked about earlier, the Social Security base is raised to 160,200. Okay. We have a president and an administration that is on a seek and destroy a message. Okay, they are trying to get rid of the middle class for whatever reason. That I don't know. Okay, but this gigantic Ponzi scheme, which is played for and played with by the Federal Reserve, the U.S. government, and of course they are supposed to be separate organizations. But you cannot borrow your way out of debt. You cannot continue to create new money to satisfy old debt. Okay, a formal definition is a Ponzi scheme. Okay, but I think some of the disturbing news of the week as well is we've all heard and known about illegal investing, and over the years there was greenmail, there was inside information, and if you remember, you go back to Ivan Boesky and Michael Milken, and obviously there's not as much information today. Because of the flow is so fast, it's hard to get real, true insight. But the Atlanta Fed president, the president of the Atlanta Federal Reserve, okay, claims he didn't understand his disclosure obligations. Now think about this for a minute. Those are people that are directly involved in decisions that affect markets. Okay. You really mean to tell me that they can do those things legally and without penalty? And the answer is yes, they can. Which again makes no sense to me when you talk. I mean, they'll come after you or me for something far less important than somebody who has the information, actually votes on the information. Very similar to Nancy Pelosi and her husband, when she tried to push through the chip bill after her husband purchased over $5 million worth of NVIDIA stock. So I think again, when you look at the bigger picture, okay, and the way things are allowed to be done, none of them have the benefit or the best interest of the American middle class. Now, I think people seem to forget that yes, there's the rich, and there's always going to be the rich. There's the very poor, but the true staple of America, and basically the true staple of any democracy, is the middle class that actually does the supporting, because they do the most buying and the most spending and the most taking care of things in general. Okay, because they're basically rotating their dollars back into the system. Okay, so I think that when you weigh everything into here, okay, and you weigh this stupid things that we're seeing done, it is actually bringing the real possibility that Bitcoin, although struggling of late, is truly a hedge, okay, an inflation hedge. Now again, I'm not telling you to go out and buy Bitcoin, okay? Let's not make a mistake and think that but I do believe in it, and I think this is one of the problems we have in government in general, okay, is their ability to destroy our currency, their ability to destroy what we do by taxing us. You may think that maybe it's no big deal, and maybe you're happy to pay. And hey, look, I'm happy to pay my fair share. I just don't want to pay your fair share. Okay, and I think when you how do you think they are funding these illegals that continue to come in? Who do you think is really paying for the illegal aliens that continue to cross the border? Okay, it's not the government. Remember, government creates nothing but debt, along with the Federal Reserve. That is neither a criticism or anything. It's a criticism when they overspend and overexist on more than a record tax base that has been brought in the last few years. Okay, and you now are starting to see the breakdown in the real estate market. Okay, because you are now seeing that people are not going back to work in offices. They are working from home. They are working from remote locations. You are going to see, you're seeing a major mass exodus from many of the big cities. Tyson Foods leaving Chicago, another big cog to leave the city. Okay, I mean, so if you continue to ignore this, and of course you have an election coming up in 3 weeks, if you continue to ignore by not voting, okay, and again, I'm not going to tell you to vote for it. I think that it's quite clear who we should be voting for at this point based on the 2-year trial run of what's going on now. But again, I'm not going to tell you to vote for them, but I am going to tell you to get off your ass and go vote. Go vote for somebody. It doesn't have to be who I tell you. I'm not going to tell you to vote for. I'm just going to tell you to get off your ass and go vote and make yourself useful, okay, so that you can at least exercise your rights as an American to go to the polls and at least have a choice at who is next in line to take care of you, okay, and who is going to take care of this country for the better or for the worse. That we don't know who's going to do a better job, okay, but from the experience we've had for the past 2 years, I know that you can't steal much more than you have from me now. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horowitz, and we're going to step out here for a break. We'll be back with more of Bubba's Bottom Line in our market report right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line on Sunday, October the 16th. Well, kids, again, we talk about our sponsors, and, the sponsors help make this show go. And, of course, we have Capital Trading Group, one of our brokerage partners. Now, I have many brokers, okay? You've heard all the big names, but I've got many brokers, okay? But, again, I've honed in on 2 that I think do the best job for you, for me, and I use them personally because anything I ever talk to you about is always vetted by me and used by me, okay? But Capital Trading Group, there's nobody better at taking care of you, their client, okay, or my members, because they do the right thing all the time. You need to talk to them, they answer the phone. You need something, they take care of you, okay? They do all of my programs by letter of direction. They're partners in our Day Trader's Dream, okay? And they're fairly priced, okay? They handle all my accounts. Check out check them out at info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And that is on the sides as well. If you can't remember that, okay, because I speak fast, it's scrolling there for you. And Trade Your brokerage, they're unbelievable. Okay, first of all, they're $10 a month. Okay, if you're paying more than $10 a month, you need to go see a doctor. Okay, you need to go be examined because you're making a gigantic mistake. But the Trader's going to sponsor Bubba's event, my event this year for Circa. Okay, where we have 3 days of intense training. It is the best training you will ever get from anybody, okay, in this business ever, okay. And we have a money management system that is proven over years. I'm going to teach it once, and it's going to be at this event, okay. But again, you can automate your trading in our programs through them at no charge, okay. The only charge we ever charge is not for the equity portfolios, but for the hedging. We charge for the software licensing, but other than that, the brokerage doesn't change. It's $10 a month. Go to try.trader.com/Bubba. Again, scrolling down the side, and remember, if you have an account with them or open one, you can save $500 on the Bubba event. It brings you back to what the early bird specials were when we first started. And of course, our high school program at Patreon. Patreon.com/Bubba Trading. Again, we're trying to rebuild this program, which has been a challenge because, of course, with what's going on in this country, they don't even want real good financial education for free. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. We're going to get back to the show right now with our market update. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, October 16th, and wow, what a ugly week for the markets once again. And you know, the bleeding is not stopped. Okay, if you think that it's over, because we're in a seasonably more bullish time, you're out of your mind. Okay, this is not over. This is far from over. And the haircut, which I need as well, okay, is going to be much, much deeper in this market before it's all said and done. And as I've said all along, my guess is 50 to 70%, and we're over halfway there now, with no real signs. Now, it's interesting. Many will point to last Thursday, okay, as a big turning point. Of course, Friday turned out to be just another beatdown. But if you go back and look at what I wrote before the market opened, okay, at 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, before the CPI came out, before anything came out, I wrote specifically this, that if the CPI number's too hot, which I expect it to be, look for the markets to get hammered and go way down, and that will probably be a great buying opportunity because you will probably see a rip your face off rally. And sure enough, the CPI came out. The NASDAQ futures went down over 300 points, only to reverse and end up almost 300 points higher. So again, that was just nothing more than a dead cat bounce, a short squeeze rally, whatever you want to call it. But remember that bear market rallies are the most vicious, okay, look the best, and are the best selling opportunities you ever get. In the meantime, for the week, the four major indices got clobbered and are very, very close to the next breakdown. They've broken down from obviously their pattern and their short, but they haven't made the next level breakdown, which we are right on the cusp. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, depending on how the early action this week is, if there's a little bit of a rally at some point. Again, there's always going to be rallies. Markets don't go straight in one direction. But the picture is very bleak and very ugly and should go lower. Now we have earnings season, which started on Friday with JP Morgan and others, which were good. But again, these earnings are a crock of shit because they've already given you less than they should be for expectations, so that you'll come in and buy their stocks now because they beat earnings. But anyways, story for another day. In the meantime, the equities are in trouble. Gold, although we're long still, we should be short. It's been pretty ugly. It has turned, fairly dramatically from where it was to the downside. But in the meantime, we're still long, and it's still, above, levels that it's very close though, because we have reversed in silver, and we are short silver and platinum. If we traded it, which we don't, we'd be short platinum as well. Okay, but when you look at the big picture, okay, it does not look real good. The dollar continues to go higher, and everybody complains about the dollar and how it's going to affect our export. Well, I'm just going to say this: A, we don't know what the true correlation is. Number one. Number two, if you got the goods and there's a demand, then they're going to pay whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the dollar is trading at. Okay. Meantime, we're long dollars. They continue to go higher. The euro currency closed once again below par. Okay, and again, it's on its way to 88 cents right now at 97 cents. And again, probably lower than that. But right now, our first target is 88 cents. We remain short. Bitcoin was lower once again, and it's around 19,000. It really looks like it's 18 to 20,000. But it could truly turn out to be a hedge because again, it's a free market. It's what I call the currency of the libertarian. Okay. But in the meantime, we are still short. The bonds and the notes continue to get hammered, and the 10-year is over 4%, or at least printed over 4%. Okay. Now again, what's the significance of that? Well, CD rates are going up now. Okay. And with CD rates, yeah, the 10 closed at 401. With 1 year CDs now, so I mean 6 month CDs are 3.5%, 1 year 4%, over 4%. Okay, which also shows you the yield curve inverting because 1 year notes are higher than 10. Okay, so you've got a major problem. So bonds and notes should continue to collapse because interest rates are going dramatically higher. The ignorance of the Federal Reserve will continue to be preserved. Copper was a little bit lower, but we're still long. And again, I don't see that copper is going to have too much room to go on the upside, but we are long. But you're seeing a pretty dramatic slowing everywhere. You've got natural gas, which was lower, which we are, of course, still short. Crude oil it felt like it was a lot lower. It was a little bit lower. Okay, we're still long crude. And I do think it's probably the right side. I think it's going a lot higher. Again, with this lousy energy policy and these imbeciles that are in charge, the grain markets were, kind of lower. Now we're short beans, long corn, long wheat. But wheat was a little bit concerning. I think they're all going a lot higher. But wheat was a little disturbing because it was up like 60 to 70 cents on Monday or Tuesday and ended up actually down in the week, which is not a real bullish sign. But I think that there's going to be a shortage. I mean, I know there's going to be a shortage, and I think there's going to be a huge demand. So we'll see. In the meats or the protein complex, we're still short cattle and hogs. We're still short across the board. I think that they look, not bad. I don't think that there's a lot of money to be made on the short side, nor is there a lot of money to be made on the long side. I think you're kind of flat, and you're going to churn back and forth depending on the price of oil. There's a little combination here, and it goes down. Am I going to heat or eat? Okay. So again, consumer has to take care of their budget. And the soft commodities, cocoa was higher. We reversed to long. Sugar was higher. We reversed to long. Cotton, we're still short, and it was lower for the week. OJ's going to the moon. I don't understand why, but the weather must be cold in Florida, which is really unimportant. But that's besides the point. In the meantime, OJ is going higher, and cocoa, coffee is getting clobbered. It's below $2 for the first time in quite a while. So again, the markets are really showing a lot of weakness, and I think that bodes well down the road for the commodities, okay, and especially the grain market, which I think will be very big. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, October the 16th. We're going to step out of for a break and come back with, of course, our commentary and our football picks. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, kids, again, just a reminder of our sponsors. Again, I'm not going to go through it all, but it's Capital Trading Group, Trade Your Brokerage, and our high school program. They're scrolling on the side and the high school on the bottom. And again, the Big Thing Trader is going to sponsor the Vegas event, which is at Circa Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Cocktail party December 5th. So you want to join us and have the greatest learning experience of your life? Please do. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horowitz, and my commentary as well as, of course, football. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, October the 16th. And, every week I give you something of what I'm thinking. And I have so many things that are bothering me. I was out in Las Vegas last week, and I had dinner with some friends out there in Vegas, and we were talking about how little our children really know. Now, my children are adults, okay, but the lack of common sense in Americans today is scary. For people to believe some of the bullshit that is put out there, it is telling me that they have not a thought. Okay, it is telling me that they have no idea, and that comes back from our educational system. You should, when you graduate high school, you should be equipped to make a decision on whether you want to go on to the next level of education or if you want to go into the workforce. Okay, and when I went to high school, granted I graduated in 1975, but when I went to high school, we had wood shop, we had auto mechanics, we had home ec. You could function and not have to go to college if you didn't think it was right for you. Okay, because the world has tradesmen, and there are plenty of good jobs out there that don't require a college education. And I'm not saying not go to college. I'm saying that our kids don't have enough education, and that they're brainwashed. And unfortunately, okay, they're brainwashed by the left. And again, I wouldn't be happy if they were brainwashed by the right either. Okay, this just happens to be the natural evolution of how our education system has been for 50 years or longer. Okay, that it is more a liberal education. And again, me being a libertarian, I just want them to at least teach some fiscal responsibility, not the way just spend, try to borrow your way out of debt. Because that's how you get into trouble as a human being. And as your own person, you keep using that credit card to try to spend your way out of debt. And of course, you end up in the shithouse. So my point is very simple, okay? We do a very poor job with our education system, which takes away from the growth of America and really puts us in kind of a position we're in now with a bunch of lazy fat cats that just know how to charge and eventually will end up in big trouble, which is kind of falling right into the arms of what this administration is trying to do. And it's just something to think about because, again, I watched it, I've witnessed it, and it's a very scary time. For me, not so much, I'll be dead. But for the youth, it'd be very scary right now. In the meantime, we got football. Big day of football, okay? We actually like the Jacksonville Jaguars, the jackasses that kicked me out of the circuit contest. We like the Baltimore Ravens. We like the Buffalo Bills against Kansas City. And the Dallas Cowboys. In the meantime, have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy yourself. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. And until then, have a great day. Have a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.